Well, joining me now is Councillor Keith Gregory, who you just saw in that report from Kieran Jenkins, and Bill Brereton, a former Deputy Police Commissioner here in North Wales. Well, Keith Gregory, do you have any confidence now that you'll be listened to and believed in these latest inquiries?
I'm quite hopeful. I'm quite confident, to be honest, now that the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary and the Welsh Assembly have promised not to leave no stones unturned, and that I'm quite hopeful. The
Waterhouse inquiry promised that, though, last time. What gives you that hope that things will be different now?
I think if people have changed the views of the views that people seen used to think about.
The culture's changed.
Yeah, culture change. That's what it is.
Bill Brereton, we've had dozens of police investigations, more than a dozen council inquiries, the Waterhouse report, all of these inquiries, and yet so few convictions. Why do you think that is?
I think there's lots of reasons. I mean, for me, the way forward is quite properly to have an outside force investigation, and that's been called for, as I understand it. I think it's very important that right up front, everyone is required to declare whether they have been or currently are a Mason. Section 81 of the Waterhouse report touches on it very fleetingly. It may or may not be a problem, but let's have it out in the open and make sure that people know what's going on.
Well, because the Masons were, and maybe still are, very powerful here. I mean, do you think there were people being protected by pillars of the establishment?
I don't know. I mean, I you know, there's an investigation to be done, and clearly that's not me because I'm retired. But the fact that the questions there needs solving, it needs clearing once and for all, and the suggestion that there could be undue influences has to be dealt with. I was never a Mason, never have been, never will be, and I was always very clear on that, and therefore it never touched on me. But I think if you know, it's that concern that if you don't know, you just don't know what's going on in the background.
Keith Gregory, are the Masons an avenue that needs to be investigated?
Masons definitely need to be investigated, especially in North Wales. I think nearly everyone, especially on the list that I have, are all members of some sort of Masonic lodge.
The Prime Minister has spoken today about the danger of a witch hunt, and you've got to say that a lot of these allegations relate to many decades ago. You're relying on people's memories. How much of a concern do you think that is?
I don't think it'll ever turn into a witch hunt. I hope it doesn't, but we are getting people coming forward, really upset people.
So you think it's the scale of allegations about the past that is emerging now? It's not a witch hunt, but it's just the scale of people who've been affected by this that you're interested in?
Yeah, it is. It's genuine, honest people coming forward with a story to tell, which they were never allowed to do last time.
Bill Brereton, you think there's a danger of witch hunt?
Well, I think any society should be judged how it deals with vulnerable people. And as I understand it, the Prime Minister said something about gays. This isn't about gays, it's about paedophilia, which is, you know, it's a completely different issue. You know, two consenting adults, fine. But, you know, this is not that. And I think, it's the test of society is how we deal with people who are vulnerable. And these were vulnerable people, and they weren't treated properly, and they should be.
Bill Brereton, Keith Gregory, thank you very much for joining me.
All I want to do is let the world know about all the crime, corruption. If y'all don't do nothing about it now, this will amount to nothing. And you won't even see anybody bumping my lyrics anymore. It's time to take the fall and take it all for its glory. And my past is horrific and gory. I've seen worse things than you could admit to seeing, and seeing is believing the truth about humanity and people. Like I have no vanity or empathy or care about others whatsoever, and things will never get any better. Until we all make a stand against the tyrannical totalitarian government worldwide that promote pedophilia. Do you hear me, bruh? They want people to do the unspeakable and just act like they don't want it. But what they don't tell you is that after they are done with the child victims, they give them off to the reptilians to eat. And that shit you shouldn't seek out, but you should try and put a stop to it. If there was a button pressed to stop it all, I'd press it and opt out to quit, because I'm good at what I do. I've hunted many pedophiles before. I've been there in the midst of things where when they got arrested, they got bested by the authority at the time. But that don't mean that they hate pedophilia, they just act like they do. What they say is not very true, and all they do is want to mock you and make pedophilia legal whatever they can, whatever way they can. In France it's legal to have sex with a 1-year-old. Will it ever end? I don't think so. Even in Japan the legal age is 13, and it's little girls and teenagers that are getting hurt by enforcing them kind of laws. And for what they're doing and others are doing, I should be knocking on their doors, bringing down all 4 wars, because most people in the world are Poles, and people like that should suffer way more than just genital sores. They should be treated like whores, obstruct the laws, form a mob and get the job done quickly and make it seem as transparent as an epiphany. Don't give these people sympathy. They put their fingers in their young daughters' butts and upload that shit to the interweb, and once you see that shit, it's stuck inside your head for good, and it makes you feel bad for the children. If you're the right type of person, I'd cut off 20 pedophiles' dicks and make each of them verse each other and be my butler until they bleed out profusely. And imagine if they can do that to kids, what would they even do to me if they had the chance? It's time to advance on them for good and kill them off and do a victory dance and cut off the cock or clit off inside their pants. Make them feel inferior, like ants. Step on them and make them suffer. Make them scream sounding like a broken down muffler. Put their heads into the gutter and step and jump on it. And don't stop there, feed them to apes and pigs. Like a pair, pull out their cock or pussy hair, because pedophiles come in both genders. Why do they get to go to protected custody? Why do they have defenders? But the thing is, it's a worldwide business involved with government being their money lenders. It all starts with going to abolish the government from the ground up and crush their cock into a glass cup and break it into bits and watch them bleed out, because that's exactly what I'm about, without any doubt. I want justice for the frightened abused children worldwide, and if we work together there's nowhere for any of them to hide anymore, and it's do it die or ride. And I want them to all to slide down a razor blade slide, and I have much more pride doing this to them again and again until they die and abide by the law finally. Maybe it will teach them if we can't get them all at the root of the problem and suggest the new world order. The Illuminati is in on it. They always think of this shit like, honestly, they believe a 10-year-old should walk down the aisle with a Master Mason and a CC degree initiation, while the boy wears a headgown and flowers in his hands, while they both walk down there and send Freemasons and shrines blowing smoke in the child's face. Like, come on, that's something I don't embrace. I just want to put all these dumb suckers in their place, because they are one big disgrace to society. They lie to you and me. And if we don't do something now, we will never become free from the problems of society. We need to protect children at any cost, and if it's not done now, then this will be one ongoing war that will be lost. And the Freemason Society and the Illuminati are the bosses, and killing them all right now would reduce the cost of living for us all. Before you think I'm being untruthful, I think you should investigate things yourself before pedophiles, because pedophiles are bad for everyone's health. That's why they get killed in jail, because most people on the outside don't have the guts to kill them off in society. Openly, I don't care for none of them, so stop your mobbing, G. Let's just hope and see that one day we'll get rid of the problem for good. But right now we must make them all flee and gather weapons to make them leave the victims be. So they honestly have no sympathy. Like Peter Scully, he made data destruction, put something inside her at only the age of 4 to 5 years old. And what they did was really bold and very cold-hearted, and if I was on their heads right now, I would have done more than just fart. Are you not going to stand for this? What are you, retarded? They started this from the beginning, and it's only getting much worse over time. The internet brings many pedos together. They are worse than a crazy cold or bad weather, and they don't discriminate. They go after both genders. They need their body put into an industrial blender. They are the world's biggest pretenders, the ones who haven't been caught yet act like it's good. What they do, they have no manners, and they are good at hiding it until they got found out in jail. They will be somebody's bitch in a song of suspenders. Until they get opened up with a cut that won't close, they will be treated worse than a million hoes at once. And first, let's cut off their toes and start with their nose and get a blowtorch and tape it to their genitals until it blows up. And honestly, I couldn't give a shit or a fuck. I'm gonna shove a knife inside their butt and call them my little bitch, or slut put it into their gut and treat them like a bitchy mutt, crush their testicles so they cannot nut anymore, and get them shut off for the rest of society. They should all live together and just rape each other, even if that's not what they prefer. Daisy from Peter Scully's abuse is still alive, scarred for life. Have you ever seen or heard about that? I would kill Scully with a cotton wool mat on top of his head while I feed him his own cock. And I don't care if the worldwide pedos come after me and take their shot. They can give it all they got. They can try and frame me, but the real people know the truth, and the realest shit is what I spit in the booth. On lyrics, I talk about the systematic abuse of children, and they are definitely more than willing, and after they rape them, sometimes they kill them and stuff it in somebody's trash can, probably owned by a guy called William. And there's more than 1 billion of them in the world, and this problem is so sorely underheld and not understood that women can be pedos too. I've seen the abuse before on the internet, doing to little kids with all kind of messed up things. Or should I had a pair of wings, I will not stop even if the fat lady sings. And the matter of the fact is that there is organised pedo rings orchestrated by the highest level of government, and I know most people won't do shit until it affects them personally. Be one of them. If you don't care right now, then I suggest you put your head in a hot oven, man. If I was there and you said you didn't care, I would lock you in, let the door slam, and then you would be one cooked lamb. Like you should think by now. I don't give a damn. I went after the biggest pedo I've ever seen in my life, and the police ran after me, destroying the evidence on my laptop. It could have exposed an organised ring of wealthy pedophiles. In fact, I know they keep their semen in vials so they can feed it in a paste to the next victims. Why you guys give us tears of crocodiles? Pretending you care, but do you ever do shit about it? I'd make them walk with a ripped up cock over 1,000 miles in the desert. I've got a nice knife that's going to slit their spine. It's going into their spine, so let's bless it. Hopefully they get me arrested for my admissions. About what I want to do to scum like this, I want them to be fish food cooked in the gum in bits. I want female pedophiles to get their clits chopped off and then get fed to the pigs while they have to wear the cum of everyone from their local jail in a wig and burn their cocks or fannies with a lit cigarette. If you were like me, you'd do something about it and get ahead of it. Stop it at its cause. Abolish world government. The totalitarian society we live in just makes me want to vomit my guts out. But if you know me well enough, exposing the truth is exactly what I'm about. And I'd feed them blown brown trout, aka shit, and make them shout, and then immediately shove it inside their mouth to shut them all up. So let's do it right now. Tell them what's up. I wish all of them to get some spontaneous combustion, begin to amount to nothing, and I ain't bluffing. And your pillow I'll be stuffing after I choke you out, after roughing you about something.
I was first told that Jimmy Savile was a paedophile in about 1997-98 by a number of people, but including the people who had serious connections into the royal family. Not that they were members of the royal family, but they were very close to people that were on the inside. And they told me about the Satanism that went on in the royal family, the pedophilia and all that stuff. And then out of nowhere, they brought up Jimmy Savile. And of course, I'm into a conversation about, royal family, how they treated Diana, pedophilia and all this stuff. And suddenly Jimmy Savile comes out of nowhere, this aging disc jockey. And I obviously asked the question, where does he fit in? And they told me about not just his pedophilia, but his necrophilia. He has a thing about having sex with dead people. And it was pointed out quite rightly to me, why do you think he volunteered to be a porter and a volunteer in hospitals, particularly the one